Tactical 40K back. Been a little hiatus because of the internet issues. We had a game cancellation. Remember that 1,000-point game I was talking about that was going down? I was still a Crusade. But last night, I had an opportunity to play a 2,000-point game. And spoiler alert, because I'm giving you the spoiler alert because I keep seeing on the forums, Ravenguard doesn't win anything. Ravenguard is where's a battle report with Ravenguard not actually winning? There is none. Can't find, and especially in our 10th edition. I mean, some people played Ravenguard, but they keep losing. Well, I didn't get a battle report where you can actually see, but I'm giving you a post-battle report, and I'm going to talk you through it because we actually won. Is pretty cool the way that went down. I wish I'd had it on camera. I wish we'd have set up, but it was my first time meeting these guys and really playing with them. And it's my first 10th edition game, to be totally honest, because our full-fledged 2,000-point game. So I'm still understanding the mechanics. I made a lot of mistakes, not necessarily in my advantage. All my mistakes were to my disadvantage. So let's just put it that way. But anyway, I was told when I was coming to this, I was going to play an Orcs player. It wouldn't have changed my list. My list was what it was. Remember, we were talking about building a competitive Ravenguard list to the best of our ability. And basically they're Black Space Marines, but I'm kind of tailoring them towards the Ravenguard-esque motif, Phobos based a little bit, a quick reaction force, or a force that's nimble and able to move the board. Forgive me, I'm using my hands. I'm part Italian, man, so I just use my hands to talk. So anyway, get there, we're setting up, and the guys that were playing the Orcs, I guess they didn't show up they couldn't show up, I guess. So I ended up playing a dude with World Eaters. And I don't know much about World Eaters comparative to other like Chaos type armies when it comes to, I just know a little bit of some of the names, like the 8-bound and a few of those other things, because to be honest, their codex came at the end of the 9th edition, which kind of sucked for them. But anyway, so here we are. I pull out my army, he pulls out his. Some of mine aren't painted because we're still building a little bit. And by the way, I got something. I don't know if I showed it in the last one. Where'd he go? All right, give me 1 second. All right, here it is. So we went ahead and did a thing, and I went ahead and got a Repulsor Executioner, which I'm still painting. We're doing 6th Company, another 6th Company model. So all my tanks are going to be from 6th Company, and then my suppressors or whatever. Side note. Anyway, so we get there. I'm pulling out all the stuff. Some of mine are going to paint. Some of his aren't painted, but he's running World Eater. He's a big World Eater player. I guess that's all he plays. This guy, the Orcs guy, obviously didn't show up. So we set up. I can't remember the mission. I'm not going to lie, but is rectangularly, deployment. But here's what happened. I didn't know too much about these guys. I underestimated their alpha strike, or their first turn abilities. So I went to this, I brought my old scouts, right? And I have 2 squads of infiltrators and some cursors, and of course my Victor tactical war suits. I'm running 2 of those. The battle slate update kind of lowered some of the points totals on those. I also have my 2 eliminators, which eliminators with bolt rifles, sniper rifles, and then my last fusel eliminators, and one the sergeant with instigator. I went ahead and attached my librarian to my eliminator squad with the last fusel and instigator. And I don't know if that sounds kosher with everybody else tactically. It turned out to be not too bad, even though I kept forgetting they have the move, shoot and move ability with the instigator rifle. Anyway, so I put them mid-board. I got my eliminators both mid-board, high up, 6 inches, so they got plunging fire. They're up on this little thing. I wish we had a picture of it, but it's center objective. Of course, that mission you weren't allowed to deploy on the objective, infiltrate, so you had to be so many inches away. So anyway, then I put my scouts on my right flank, up near the objective, because I figure I can just get up there, and they have concealed position and get there and get it. Well, I wasn't thinking at the time as he's deploying these dudes. I didn't realize like how quickly these guys can get up the board. So then I put on my left flank, I have infiltrators, and then my center, I kind of put my tank behind some cover, because he does have some shooting. he had a Forge Fiend and then some other dude that was right in front of some, I don't know if they were jackals, I can't remember. But anyway, they're in front of them, and he had like a las gun type deal. So I'm sitting there like, okay. So put that behind there. I put my other tank, my Lancer, on my left hand side, kind of reinforcing those infiltrators over there. I put my Inceptors, my Suppressors, and Cave-In Strike with my Vanguard Vets in Deep Strike, or in reserve for the time being. Excuse me. I ended up just running. I didn't run the Reavers. I ran the Incursor Squad, and I had that attached with and they were on my right flank, by the way, kind of reinforcing the scouts. So I end up having to scout them up because they don't infiltrate. So I was going to scout them and the Invictor Warsuit up and kind of solidify that flank. But with them, I had the Lieutenant on there. And here's a side note: I have all 50 points worth of enhancements I totally forgot about, and so I was running 50 points shy. Anyway, we're getting 6 minutes in there. I'm not even through deployment. So I get those. I get my tank, that Executioner kind of in the center on the home objective with my Tech Marine. And then I had a Reaver Lieutenant. I just was like, he's just going to run around and just do whatever he's going to do. I thought maybe he'd hold the objective or something like that. So there we are. We're sitting there. Am I missing anybody? Let me look, because I got some guys here. Lancers on the left side. No, I think that's it. So that was deployed. And I had to, anyway, so he rolled off. He gets first turn. What does he do? He gets some capability that allows him to, like, not only advance, but then continue, like it's almost like a double advance. Anyway, needless to say, he had 8 bound units. So he had an 8 bound unit on which would be my left side coming at me, 1 on the right side coming at me, and I think he had 1 in the center. And then he had also on my left side, where are they? Khorne Berserkers with, who was their deal? The Lord Invictus or something like that. Dude, I don't remember that guy's name. What is his name? You guys will know. And then he had Angron right in the center, right coming out the front. So anyway, those 8 bound come down the flanks. Angron comes straight up the middle, right into my backfield, lands pretty much in my almost where he can clobber my tank. I had my tank off to the side, thankfully, but he lands right on that objective and starts, swiping at dudes. Essentially, 8 bound come up, take out my scout snipers, bam, like they're nothing, right? Of course. At the same time, I went ahead and I tried to overwatch with my tank. I rolled like crap. All my saves were just bad. All the overwatch, all those guns on that executioner tank, nothing. Then on the other side, the 8 bound come up and they got on the objective, but they couldn't quite get to my infiltrators the way I had them. Because once I realized when we were deploying what was going to happen, because he then mentioned it, I went ahead and kept those infiltrators a little bit further back. But it didn't look good. All right, so he goes in there. What is it? The Forge Fiend blasts my bolt rifle eliminator. Sorry, I'm just like tired. Blast them down to 1 model, and I'm sitting there like, this is not going to go well. This guy just ran not only through his deployment zone, through no man's land, and is almost in my deployment zone at this point. And granted, our secondaries, we both had engaged in all fronts. And I should have picked Assassinate, but I didn't. I picked Cleanse or something like that. And I can't remember what else he had. Anyway, that was pretty much his turn right there. The first turn, just ran up the board, grabbed objectives, Angron was in my deployment zone essentially. Or he was, because he was on my objective. We're challenging him. I just go ahead and I move up my Lancer where I can see Angron. I move my tank out a little bit. No, I didn't. I think I kept it there. And I had my Tech Marine there. Oh, no, I moved it out a little bit. So there's no chance. There's like clear line of sight for sure. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. I get my last fusils. I pour all shots in the Angron, and it took me everything, like I mean everything, besides what was in deep strike, to shoot this dude. And finally I take him down, right? So it took more than just my tank, because I was rolling just horribly. I mean, I rolled so bad, it was insane. I don't even think I rolled more than a couple sixes the whole thing. And I, however many dice you roll with the execution, it was like 30. It was absolute craziness that I had to pour everything into that dude. Oh, and I had that second Invictor tactical that war suit up there. It was going in the Agron. That's what it was. So I ended up charging into him with the war suit, and that's when we finished things off there. But it took me all my firepower turn one to take him out. On the other side, I moved my war suit up, and my incursors, I tried to move them out of striking distance of them, the 8-bound, and it didn't look that great because I moved them, and then I tried to shoot and fade after I shot into them, and that didn't work out too well. My Invictor, my rolls were so horrible, nothing happened there, but I moved them where I could charge into those dudes. So end up, long story short, took out Ingron there, and then charged into those 8-bound on the right side. Over here, I didn't know what to do at the time, so what I ended up doing, and I overreacted, I put my suppressors and my Inceptors there instead, deep striked him right off the bat, or didn't deep strike him, just brought him in from reserve. And I should have held my Inceptors, because I could have got in that corner, the right corner, and got engaged in all fronts with 4 corners. But instead, what I did is I put him there to reinforce that left side and to pretty much interdict the 8-bound there, stop them from scoring. They're engaged in all fronts, and just stop them from running rampant over that flank. So I put those dudes there, and I had my infiltrators, up top, plasma suppressors, staggered, and then I put Caven, Shrike, and went ahead and just deep striked him down there, kind of like, because he was leaving his backfield kind of open, so I put him up in the corner. There's a piece of terrain that made it so it was really hard for him to charge it, because he'd already moved his berserkers and that whatever that dude is. Oh, Invactus, whatever the Invactus dude, Lord Invactus, he was over there, and it was really hard for him to get in there. So anyway, get him in there, failed that charge with Cave-In. I shot 2 with the plasma stuff, blah, blah. Shot with my, I failed the hazardous test with my librarian, so which fired into, I think it was excuse me, hang on, my nose, woo. Did a whole bunch of stuff, failed the hazard test, down to 1 wound on my librarian, and he would live with 1 wound the whole entire game, and live. Anyway, so that turn goes. Next turn, I think I continued rolling bad Overwatches as they come in. The Invictor Tactical Warsuit did some work on the 8-bound. We get tied up into melee there. He ties up my incursors. Actually, that's what happened. Yeah, he charges, ties up my incursors and that. I know I'm all over the place. I'm trying to remember all this. And anyway, he shoots, kills my Eliminator squad. So right now I'm down like 3 units. I think I've killed like 2 models going in turn 2. It wasn't, I was like, this is gonna end really bad, man. This is not gonna be good, because 1, Ravenguard's meant to be pushing forward, they're striking, they're moving around, and the only real unit that I have doing that's making these little moves is Cave-In over there, and they failed the Cave-In and the boys, and they failed their charge. So anyway, they get I'm gonna skip forward. They get wrapped up over there in that corner by the Berserkers and that Lord Invactus or whatever, but they have it in such a way that only a couple of them can actually fit in there to fight Cave-In in them. So they try to slap them. I think they put on like a wound or something, and we attack back. And I'll tell you what, the Vanguard vets are not that bad. They sliced and diced a few of them. Cave-In, Shrike, man, dude, he is not that bad at all when it comes to like those type of Space Marine profiles that those guys had. Put the hammer down, knocked a couple of them out as well, and he went ahead and made it. I think he made it so we were out of combat, took the units out, which I was like, yeah, that's fine. Which I forgot that when we charge in, we get a plus, whatever. I think it's lethal hits or plus. I can't remember, but I didn't take that in hand. There's a lot of stuff I didn't do. I kept free. Oh, I had my Vindicar assassin up there. Totally forgot about him. Shot him like once the entire game. He's just sitting up perked. Excuse me, in my deployment zone, in a building, hiding out like nothing. So anyway, I finally get to use my tank that turn, blast his Forge Fiend, or blast his Forge Fiend a little bit, destroy that other thing with the las cannon, which I think is like some kind of Lord of whatever. I think it's Lord of Skulls or something like that. He had a weird model that was in its place. Anyway, I blast him, kill him. There's some cultist back there too, and I'm not really paying attention. Anyway, there's also another thing, 8-bound coming in. They take that objective. What else was there? Oh, my Lancer starts moving around and starts blasting the other 8-bound. He ties my Inceptors up. He kills my Infiltrators, gets into my Inceptors. What does they call it? Stratagem. It's like the one where you can select a doctrine that you've already had, like, or put it on a unit. I do that, fall back with my Inceptor, start shooting him with my Lancer, kill the 8-bound. He also has cultists coming up that take that objective on the left-hand side. Anyway, so here we are. We're not looking good. My Victor Tactical Warsuit over here does damage, just slaughters the 8-bound pretty well. Which I'm surprised I guess it was mainly my rolling. It's really not that bad of a unit. He actually did some damn good melee, eventually kills all those dudes, and then makes his way up to the Forge Fiend, and long story short, he ends the Forge Fiend, which was nice. He tied it up in combat, destroyed it, so that whole right side of the board was mine, essentially, besides like one Berserker that was left, or what was it? No, one 8-bound dude that was left over there, but he had no chance. I think that was at the end of the game, that was it. So then through the center of the board, my tank comes up, starts blasting things. My other Tactical Warsuit tries to get the 8-bound out of the center. He does a fairly good job. Then he gets smoked. My tank and those dudes, or I had my Reaver Lieutenant there. He ends up taking the rest of the 8-bound, charging into him. I go ahead and Overwatch. I think I kill one doing that. And then what happens is the next turn, before he can get in, he ties up those. No, that's what happened. Sorry. Ties up my lieutenant, kills that lieutenant, consolidates into my tank. I'm able to use that stratagem again, fall back, and I start shooting, blasting him, and smoke all the 8-bound finally with that and the Lancer. And then what else did I do? Oh, Cave-in Shrike goes in there and just starts tearing up the Berserkers with what's left of the Vanguard vets. There's a few left. They kill them. They take out Lord Invactus or whatever his name is. Pretty awesome. Last cannons start working, or last fusils in the library, and start working on the cultists that are coming up to the center objective. I end up dropping them down and then just smoking the rest of those dude, and I kind of Gatling gunned them. Anyway, needless to say, I almost tabled the dude besides one group of cultists over there, and we didn't. After that, he's like, you essentially won because you've taken all these objectives. You've got engaging all fronts for whatever it is, and then whatever clans I had at one time, I can't remember. But anyway, it was, until then, it was pretty much tied, or I think I was down by 4 victory points, and then after all that, just massive amount of firepower, I was gonna take him out and then table him anyway, and I think it was round 4 or something. Like, took forever. Anyway, we won, and I still had a large number of units, which is good. So I know I'm almost 20 minutes, so I don't want to keep this too much, and I was just talking all over. So I can talk over my list real quick again. So like I said, we had Cave-in leading the whole attack with Vanguard vets. They weren't bad. They did pretty well, especially against Space Marine type profiles. Toughness 4 or 5 dudes with 1 to 3 wounds. They tear up infantry, let's just put it that way. Suppressors, not bad. Not bad, especially if you can get your suppressors to hold still and you get 3+ hits, and then you can suppress that, which I thought that might play. I did suppress one of the 8-bound units, but it didn't play anyway, and I totally forgot. And I forgot a lot of other things when it comes to rolling. He was rolling, I had some wounds. He was rolling some damage or wounds wrong, and we didn't catch that. There was a lot of stuff that like I said, my Vindicar assassin, I forgot. The enhancements, I forgot. Some of the abilities the lieutenant gave to some of the unit, like the incursors, I forgot. The haywire mine. I forgot a lot of stuff. And then all, just really bad things. I forgot Oath of Moment a couple times, and a whole round I think I forgot my oath, that it was my oath target, and re-rolling with my tank, which really sucked. But anyway, so that was good. I was just, the other thing stand out. So I had two war suits, a lancer, which lancers went up in points. That kind of sucks. 2 war suits, lancers, a tech marine, 2 squads of eliminators, one with last fusils and an instigator bolt rifle, and then another squad with the bolt sniper rifles. And then I had the librarian with the last fusils, giving them some additional benefits like a pseudo lone operative. What else did I have? I had, the incursors with a Phobos lieutenant attached to them. Then the lone man just running around, the Reaver lieutenant. Then I had scouts. I had scouts, sniper scouts, or scout snipers, whatever. And I didn't get to really play with them at all because they got smoked right after the first one. But this guy was also pretty awesome. I got to finish painting him all. The Executioner. So I had 2 tanks. Executioner, there's a tremendous amount of firepower on this dude. There's a lot of shots. And I had the tech marine right beside him. And you know what else I forgot is when you get something half strength, you get +1 to hit 2, I believe. And I forgot the mini oath on the lancer, which would have really helped on some of this stuff. Because I was rolling a lot of 1s. I was rolling a lot of bad stuff. I was thinking, did I forget anybody else? I think that was it. That's pretty much my list. We beat the World Eaters. I think I'm playing again on Friday. I want to try something else different, because for almost the same points in the enhancement that I forgot on the lieutenant, I can just throw another assassin or something in there, or even get a unit. So I'm going to get like an FSR assassin and just throw him in there and see what goes down with. I guess I could actually play this dude almost. I can FSR assassin. He almost looks like it just doesn't have the claw. So I think I got one ordered, so I'm going to get that. He just looks cool, but he's just not that great of a unit. I wish they'd do something about that. I guess his battle shock thing, it didn't even play. I battle shocked 1 unit, but it didn't really matter. They weren't on the objective at all. They weren't on the objective, and he gets unit-wide crap anyway outside of stratagems. Anyway, Ravenguard won. That's the moral of the story. Granted, there was Phobos, and I had tank units, a few tank units with me, but we did it. Anyway, hopefully we gave it more detailed, a little bit better battle report next time. We'll probably be playing, sounds like they want to put me up against like a Necron army. I don't know, because they were talking about how this Necron army is like really hard for certain armies to battle against. We'll see. Otherwise it's going to be either orcs or maybe knights, or I think there's another guy with not Nids, something else. We'll see. But hopefully, I like to play orcs. I like orcs. Anyway, talk to you later. Peace.